Hey, I'm Shelbina, a fellow book lover, but somehow I found myself completely uninterested in reading. Okay, but why is she on the floor?
And that brings me to today. I am officially declaring a book slump. And listen, guys, there were signs leading up to this. I was actually in denial. Like, for instance, finishing a good book that I did enjoy, but not rating it because I just didn't feel like I was even in the right headspace to give a rating is one of my personal telltale signs of an incoming book slump. Another sign was anytime I'd sit down and get some free time and I'd look over and see the book I'm supposed to be reading and just not feeling any kind of desire to actually sit down and read it, despite it being a good book. In this case, it was not the book's fault, and I'm still curious to read Binding 13 and see for myself what all the hype is about, but I just really didn't feel like doing that right now. So all that being said, welcome to this slump vlog. Spend a weekend with me in a book slump. Now, I'm not saying that by the end of the weekend I'm gonna be out of the book slump. I'm not saying my slump is only gonna last 3 days. I have no idea how long the slump is going to last, but I am gonna do things to encourage myself to get out of a slump and rewire my brain to ultimately crave reading again. Before I go any further, I got this comment to which I responded that I wasn't in a book slump yet. I was in a bit of a denial. There were signs that this was actually gonna happen to me. So rule number 1, don't fight the slump. Now, some polite housekeeping, because if you're like me and you like buddy reads, but you find yourself in a slump with a buddy read, you've gotta let the buddy know. So I did text bestie Sarah, and of course she was 100% supportive, if not even further influencing the slump. So that brings me to rule 2.
Good morning, guys. Please excuse my messy hair. I don't know. It's the morning. Both of my boys are at my parents' house, so I have the first half of today to do whatever I like. I'm gonna take this opportunity to follow rule number 2 and binge as much TV as I can. So my first choice is gonna be Bridgerton because I still have not seen part 2, and I really liked part 1, so...
Dearest gentle reader.
I always get so excited when I hear the music. The music is one of the best parts. Sophie just found all of Benedict's drawings, and he caught her. Oh, wait. It's so good. Okay, guys, I think I'm gonna stop watching Bridgerton because it actually got really sad. I don't know if I'm 100% into watching something sad right now, but yeah, either way, it just feels like a good opportunity to break from all the TV watching and move on to my next activity as part of rule 2, which is to embrace the slump. And by embracing the slump, we're making more time to do everything else. And I do have some errands I need to catch up on, but first, let's grab some coffee. Ugh, guys, it is so muggy today. It feels kind of gross outside. Not the best day for running errands, but we prevail. But you know what always makes everything better? Coffee. So let's go get some. Okay, got the coffee. I got a banana Foster from PJ's Coffee, one of my favorite local coffee spots. Oh my god, it's so good. I'm back from running my errands. I didn't film everything that I had to do while I was out and about because the rest was honestly just boring. Before I move on to rule number 3, I just want to recap all that step 2 entails. Remember, at this point, you are embracing the slump, you are binging TV. I know I only showed the clip of me watching Bridgerton, but I have also been watching some other shows. I'll pop them on the screen so you can see what I've been enjoying lately. The one that I've been watching the most is surprisingly
Daredevil Born Again season 1. My husband and I loved the Netflix version of Daredevil, and we really questioned whether or not Disney was able to go there because Daredevil is a dark character with very dark themes. We just didn't know if when Disney picked it up, if they were going to put a Disney version of it out there, which is like pulled back a lot. I have to say, Disney was not afraid to go there. Disney did not hold back any punches. Daredevil Born Again is actually so much darker than the Netflix version. I'm very happy with the cast that they were able to maintain. Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, is such a layered villain, and honestly the acting in Daredevil is so good. Now I know that there can be some confusion if you are curious about picking up and watching Daredevil. You cannot start at Daredevil Born Again. You have to watch the previous seasons to understand what's going on and the history between Matthew Murdock, Daredevil, Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, and Poindexter. So it's not a reboot by any means, but it is absolutely a series worth diving into. The acting is outstanding and the storytelling is so haunting. I think it's episode 2. It's the episode where they talk about the white tiger and they put a Puerto Rican twist on it, and that episode, honestly, it emotionally scarred me, but they really captured the magic of the island of Puerto Rico. I am of mixed ethnicity, and so one half of me is Puerto Rican, and when they talked about the coquis, it just brought me back to all the summers I spent there as a little girl. But the way that they executed the ending specifically of episode 2, it destroyed me. But I can still appreciate how well the story was told. Love story, I've only seen the first episode, but it is so extremely nostalgic to the 90s, and I love it for that reason. Like I said, I've only seen one episode, so I haven't hit a point where I'm really developed a strong opinion for it story-wise or character-wise, but my husband and I are gonna continue to watch it, and the thing that is bringing us back is the 90s nostalgia. And then yeah, Summer House. Our guilty pleasure is Summer House, and if you're a Bravo fan, you guys know we are deep into so much drama that is surrounding Summer House and the cast of Summer House, and it's all unraveling in real time. I'm really looking forward to the reunion. Okay. Now, continuing on our road to Book Slump recovery, we have reached a fork in the road, okay? And that is the cause of said book slump. So if the reason you are in a book slump is because of a book hangover, and if you happen to be new to this term, here is the definition of a book hangover. It is the intense, lingering, emotional, or mental state that a reader experiences after finishing a captivating book, making it difficult to start a new one. So you finished a potentially 6-star book, and then you pick up another one and you just can't, you're struggling to get into it. Your mind is stuck in the previous book. Nothing really seems captivating or interesting. Nothing seems like it's ever gonna compare to what you just read. So you're in a slump. Now remember, you're past stage 2. You've already embraced the slump, however long that takes you. So the next thing I would encourage you to do is to ease yourself into reading, and a great way to do that is to physically go to a bookstore. One of my favorite things when I go to a bookstore is seeing the books that excite other people, or seeing what other people are drifting to and then checking that out as well. Sometimes for me, when I'm like scrolling and shopping online for a book, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, even just reading Fable reviews, it can feel overwhelming. It can feel kind of taxing. It's not as good of an experience. It feels kind of hard to find books in that way. Going to a bookstore, being surrounded by the books, seeing what other people are picking up, and being drawn by a cover. You never know what can grab your attention. For me, I went to Half Price Books, had nothing in mind. I will insert that clip here. So as you can see, I ended up buying 3 different books, and something that I personally find helpful of getting out of a book hangover is to read something funny. I don't come across a lot of humorous books, so when I see one, I almost immediately purchase it. Now, I have not read this book, which is The Dark Lord's Guide to Dating. This book reminded me a lot of Assistant to the Villain, which is very funny, and I enjoyed the humor. I think this is going to be a similar experience, and just having a book that can make you laugh frequently is a very refreshing experience. So try a funny book to get you out of a book hangover. Another thing I would recommend is trying to find a book content creator that has very similar taste and try to see what their 5-star or 6-star reads are and give that a try. And no shame or shade if you are one of the book talk romantasy loving girlies. You are in good company if you are, because I'm one too. So I would definitely just go to the mothership and peruse like what people on book talk are loving, what people on Bookstagram are loving and yapping about and hyping right now. Personally, one book that I think deserves a lot more hype is The Silversmith. The level of yearning in this book is simply unmatched. And if you pick it up and you're like starting to question or doubt whether or not this is the book for you, just know I had a similar experience and this book ended up being a 5-star. So just give it a chance. And if you're like, well, what does that even mean? What does a chance look like? Is it 20 pages? Is it 20%? If you're asking me, I tend to always give a book 100 pages. What? I know. I don't know. Is that fair? Is that too much? But usually if it is a fantasy book and there's a lot of world building and setup, like that takes time to do. So I try to give it a good amount of time before I DNF. That's just my recommendation. It's fairly obvious, but book hangovers are a little easier to treat and have a bit more of an obvious treatment. So yeah, that is my recommendation. Now, if you're like me and your path is the other fork of the road, which is your book slump wasn't caused by a book hangover, aka it's like a mix of a life slump, book slump, it's just a funky state of mind that you're in, that takes a whole other strategy. And so let me tell you what I've done. So if you're on this path, I feel you. It's not a fun state of mind and you're probably going through something, and burnout could be one of them. This was the primary cause for my book slump, and so the thing that really helped me get out of it is obviously going through step 2, embracing the slump, embrace not reading for a bit, and to let my feelings ride and to process everything, take time to sleep, to do basically anything else than my normal grind. And then I would do this next thing, which could be kind of controversial. So remember, I relaxed, okay? I took time to relax. And then I did this next thing, which is do something hard. This works for me. If this doesn't feel natural to you, I'm not suggesting that you push it in any means, but this is just the formula of book slump recovery that I follow. So when I'm at this stage, I'm gonna do something hard, and bonus points if it is physically hard. Now, it's important to note that it has to be doable, okay? It can't be so hard that it's impossible. Something that you have been maybe putting off. Maybe it's cleaning up your front yard, because sometimes after putting your nose in so many books, you really just need to touch grass. This was the aftermath of me cleaning my front yard, and it looks all the better for it. But yeah, just a reminder, touch grass. And it felt so therapeutic, honestly. Also started a new workout routine, which also felt really hard for me to just start. Okay, so not the sweatiest workout. I'm actually not that sweaty, but the hardest part was just committing to finding a workout and actually doing it. And I do feel better for just moving my body. The nice thing about that workout was it was equal parts breath work, and so that felt really nice and meditative. I do feel like I'm gonna be sore tomorrow. It was 30 minutes, I completed it, and I do feel better. So after doing all of that, I do feel like my headspace is more clear. Another reason why I say to do something hard is because reading is such a cozy, relaxing hobby that after you do something hard, you're gonna crave to relax. You're gonna crave to take a nice break and reward yourself. And therefore, I'm trying to trigger that craving to sit down and grab a book or turn an audiobook on and allow your brain to escape for a minute. And then we move on to step 4. ease into it. Now, my strategy for this is to choose 2 books that you know a lot of people tend to like and are excited about, and also books that are not intimidating to start, books that just seem like straightforward fun and in the genre that you most enjoy. So for me, that is gonna be romantasy. So my 2 choices are Spark of the Everflame and The Wolf King. So now that I know my 2 books, pick one, set a timer for 15 minutes, and just get a feel for the writing and for the story. And I know you're thinking like 15 minutes may not be enough to get a feeling one way or another of a book, but remember, we're just easing our way into one, and 30 minutes felt a lot more approachable than doing 40 minutes of reading. So I'm gonna put this strategy to the test and see if 15 minutes really is enough to get a feeling, at least for these 2 books. And at the end, I'll pick one of these 2 to actually read seriously. Or if I'm still not feeling these, that might signal that I didn't embrace the slump enough, and you might wanna go back to step 2. But for now, let's test out rule number 4. I think I'm gonna start with Spark of the Everflame. That was pretty good, honestly. And the timer went off right before a fight scene. So yeah, it's the beginning of the book. She's going to win the fight, obviously. But I do feel the pull to continue because it was getting rather interesting. So let me paint the picture of what's going on the first 15 minutes of the book. So far, I know that our FMC DM is a healer living in the world of Emerion. Sorry if I'm butchering that. It used to be a world full of mortals until these groups of people called the Kindred went to their world because the Kindred's world was destroyed. So they're looking for a new home base, essentially. Each of the Kindred fell in love with a mortal citizen, and rather than watch their loved ones die because they're mortal, they tied their immortality to the person that they loved. So therefore, their offspring created a new race called the Descended. And the Descendeds now rule over the different regions of Emerion. Their intention was that mortals and descendants all live together in harmony, but apparently there was a civil war called the Blood War, I believe, and so there is now bad blood between the two races, and on current day they are celebrating a descended holiday called the Forging. So everyone's getting ready for preparations for that, and DM, a mortal, although she has some physical characteristics that are not representative of the mortal race. So whenever the kindreds came down and gave birth to the descendants, that made all of the mortals have brown eyes, and each of the descendants have different colored eyes. They could be blue. I don't know what the other ones have. I just know of the Luminos descended. They have blue eyes. So our FMC has white hair, dark skin, and they haven't really said the color of eyes yet, but she just said she lost her eye color in a childhood illness. But anyways, I'm sure there's more to her than just being immortal. This was pretty good for the first 15 minutes, but I'm going to put her down and give Wolf King a try. Oh, I will say I did read a bit slower than I usually do. I found myself having to reread paragraphs or sentences again because my mind was still wandering, but towards the end of the 15 minutes, I felt like I was getting my flow back. Okay, Wolf King, here we go. Okay, so for this one, I actually made it to chapter 2, so I was able to read a whole chapter within the first 15 minutes. It was a lot easier for me to get into a reading flow with this one because there's minimal, very, very minimal world building, and you are immediately dropped into a very intense scene. It's very gladiator-like. I'm not going to tell you what happens because it was quite fun as a reader to experience it, so I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but you're in this gladiator coliseum type setting, but replace gladiators with werewolves. So again, it's fun. I mean, it's called The Wolf King, so obviously it's a werewolf novel. So yeah, it was immediately intense, but already I was able to relate to our FMC and her struggles and her inner monologue. And again, the 15 minutes hit at a point where something was going to happen and it's less obvious what's going to happen or the outcome of her being in where she is. So this is a little bit tough. They are both really interesting books, both really strong starts. They did each pull me in their own way, and I feel like 15 minutes was actually a really good reading time to get a taste for the two. Now, because I am in a book slump and it seemed like Spark of the Everflame has more intricate and involved world building, I'm a little hesitant to pick this one. I think I'm gonna go with The Wolf King. Now, my last rule, number 5, is to pause after reading for 30 minutes straight and just do something else. Give it a rest and see if your mind drifts back or you feel the pull to pick up the book again at the end of the day or however long you want to give it. There's no real time frame to this break, and who knows, you might change your mind on the book that you picked. It allows you to build that excitement to continue one of these books. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I feel pretty good about my choice. I would be very surprised if I decided to pick up Spark of the Everflame instead, but I am gonna follow my rules and give it at least an hour and see how I feel. This basically wraps up my strategy for overcoming a book slump. I hope that one of these helps you. Let me know and drop down any other tips that you can think of to help people overcome slumps. And I'm also, guys, so sorry if this video ended up being really messy, because what can I say? It took me a while to film this because the slump was slumping, okay? I know I said I would cover it within a weekend, and technically I did, but that time frame spans 2 separate weekends because when I first started filming this, that was the prior week, and then I could not get it together. I followed my own rule and I went back to number 2 and decided to spend more time embracing the slump. That's a very crucial step of the recovery. And then I was able to pick up the camera and go through the rest of the rules, and I actually feel really good, and I'm already thinking about The Wolf King, so I'm like 90% sure that's gonna be my pick, and I'm very excited about it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this and found it helpful. Thank you so much for watching and being patient with me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.